What in the hell is wrong with Ryan Anderson? I've always liked Ryan. I've given him a lot of grace. I felt bad for him all the way up until this, okay? He commented on the infamous video of Gypsy Rose cutting up the blanket, right? And he just made a big joke of it. He said, that people are saying that Ken and this baby are in danger and whatnot. And he says, who? Who is in danger? The only person in danger was the blanket. Who? Michael Jackson's son blanket? As if that was a funny joke right there. Good one, Ryan. But, he just kept going on and on about keep your blankets safe. Blankets are in danger. He 100% believes that Gypsy Rose is not a danger to anyone. After seeing a display of violence like that, this buffoon still believes that Gypsy Rose is no danger. What is wrong with you, Ryan Anderson? I don't... like I said, I've given him a lot of grace because I believe that Gypsy's still in contact with him. I believe she's still pulling his chain. I believe she's still texting him, we're going to be together and all this nonsense. I truly believe that. But for him to not see the seriousness of this and joke about it, and he even told us that, supposedly, allegedly, that Gypsy Rose told him that it was harder for her to leave him than it was for her to do in her mother. And he takes this as a compliment. If somebody ever told me, oh, it was harder to leave you than when I offed my mother. Ugh, that's disgusting. And he believes it. Well, so obviously what she's saying, a rational thinking person, somebody with a brain, is going to say, well, then obviously it wasn't hard at all for her to off her mother. If it was harder for her to leave Ryan because she didn't care about Ryan, she had no feelings for that man. She used that man for a parole address. That's the only thing she wanted from Ryan Anderson, was somewhere to parole to because she didn't want to parole to Rod and Christie's house. But he thinks that there was all these feelings involved, and it was so hard to leave him. It was harder to do that than off her mother. So, Ryan, you don't understand. She's basically telling you it was easy. It was as easy as wiping her ass. As whatever. It was easy for her to do that. That's what she's telling you. And, he starts out talking about how, she left. He still is buying into this, how she told him that he was her comfort. So he goes on this long spiel about how she left her comfort, her comfort to be with Ken. And then he's going on talking about the black and white music video she made to the song A Little Too Late or whatever, the JoJo song, whatever. That ridiculous video. He's talking about how angry she looks and this and that and hurting. She's hurting. Why do you care, Ryan? She didn't care she hurt you. But, I just found it incredibly disgusting and tasteless for this grown man to make a joke of the violence of cutting that blanket up. Is it going to be a joke, Ryan Anderson, when she harms somebody for real? Is that going to be funny? Are you going to be laughing when she ends up back in prison for harming someone? Is that going to be funny? No, then we're going to see the tears, the boo-hooing, and then when that happens, she's going to be crawling back to you. That's when she will come crawling back to you, when she's in trouble and when her ass is sitting in prison for harming somebody. That's when she's going to take your big buffoon ass back. Ooh, I usually don't get this heated about people I don't know, but to just make a joke out of something so serious. Yeah, in the big scope of things, there's a whole lot more serious. We got, war, people starving. There's a whole lot bigger stuff to worry about. But, how can you not take that seriously? That was a threat. That's a threatening act. So now switching gears just a little, I'm just going to throw this, instead of making a whole nother video, we're just going to throw this in here. Have you seen the interview that Gypsy did with this TyBott character? I don't know nothing about him, but it's over on YT, right? And it's not performing that well. He's only had a couple thousand views on it. And he has, I believe, over 1 million subscribers on YT. And she allowed him to interview him under the condition that they didn't talk about the crime, but they could talk about her time in prison. So she makes him the stupid prison energy drink called the Rack, or A-Rack, or whatever. It's the stupid instant coffee. You know, if you've been to prison, you know, we all did this shit in prison because we didn't have any rugs in there, so we had to get all caffeined out, you know, if that's your thing. I mean, not everybody's there for rugs, but hey, open disclosure, yes, I was, you know, so if that ever comes out, I was the first to tell you. But anyways, it's the instant coffee, the Kool-Aid, and Coca-Cola, and then you crunch up the Jolly Ranchers and we never did that. We didn't put the Jolly Ranchers into it, but yeah, we definitely did do the Kool-Aid with the instant coffee. Yeah, we did do that. And, you know, we had Pepsi, though. We didn't have Coca-Cola. We had Pepsi where I was at. So he tries that, and he liked it. She shows him how to make this corn soup. I don't know. It was like a can of spaghetti sauce with some potatoes, some corn, and some Polish sausage in it, and ears of corn, and some Tony Satchery seasoning. I mean, maybe it's delicious. I don't know, but it sounds like heartburn to me, and it sounds like it just wouldn't taste like anything. So, and then she convinces him to make a dance video with him, and he makes certain to tell us that she said she wasn't going to be shaking her ass and none of that. But as soon as he turned his back and wasn't watching her, she was shaking her ass for the camera. So that just proved to him that she's a liar. But obviously, this man did not, I mean, he didn't look into who he was given a platform to. I hope they cancel this TyBott over this. You know, and he's acting like it's an interview, not a collab, so it's different. The point is that he gave this piece of shit a platform, okay? This girl who has never taken any accountability or anything. And then, you know, as a man, he doesn't know anything about sharp objects. So he asked her, she asked him to cut the Polish sausage. And he said, should he use the serrated edge or the straight edge? And she said, she didn't. And he said, well, you're the expert. And she didn't even catch it. She didn't even catch it. He pulled one. I'll give him that one. But you know, that's all they talked about. And she talked about some of the jobs she had while in prison. She talked about what prison's like, that basically like, it's like being in high school. There's the cliques, you know, and there's the seniority levels, you know, there's a whole hierarchy in prison, you know, the lifers are well respected, you know, and, you know, it's a whole, oh, and then she talked about how the ice, on some of the units, the ice machines didn't work. Very true. Here in our state, they didn't either. She talked about, they call it canteen, we called it commissary here, or we just call it the store. You know, just nonsense. Just a whole bunch of, it was a big nothing burger. This interview, it was boring. It was hard to watch. It was stupid. I don't even, if you get a chance, look, I would recommend maybe if you check it out on YouTube, don't go right to TyBott. Don't give him the views. Maybe check out 1980 Millennial. She does good videos, and she summed it all up. But yeah, that's my report of the day, so to speak, on Miss Gypsy Rose Manson. Let me know, what do you think? I think Ryan's completely lost his mind, and I think TyBott should be canceled. What are your thoughts?